Hi guys, it's Patrice. Yesterday I did a reading for a great friend in France, and before I met with him, he had chosen 3 decks. I shuffled all 3 of them, and the neat thing is there were some messages that came up. So the 9 of Swords and the 10 of Swords, he doesn't even know this portion, fell out while I was shuffling from one of the decks. We didn't actually go into that deck, so I'll save that, and he and I are going to read again tomorrow. But the 9 of Swords and the 10 of Swords is like, the 9 of Swords is like pace in the kitchen at 4 a.m, like having a really challenging time. The 10 of Swords is making a decision to find what's that one truth that's required so that I can get to 10 swords, hit my rock bottom, and create a whole new cycle, which is being in truth, right? So that was the theme 100%. Yesterday I mentioned on our story that I was getting kind of like that the spider web, which is what we do. Our dharma is who we are, right? We have karma in this life, some things that we have to work through, hopefully that we learn lessons from and through and different people, right? So there's karma and then there's dharma. So dharma is what you just naturally do. That's totally being free, right? If we're not in karma, we get to be in our dharma. So when we're talking about a spider web, what we're looking at is that the spider creates a web. That's what he does, right? So the theme was that we should continue what we're doing. We just want to make sure that we're doing it in the right place, that we're not doing it in a doorway where we get knocked down. Sometimes those of us who have fallen from our pinnacles or something has happened, sometimes we're afraid to get back to that. But sometimes we just had to make a small change. And again, whatever that is for you, for the spider, it's in the wrong doorway. So whether it's in the wrong environment, an environment can be around people, it can be around businesses, and it can also be like a habit pattern. Whatever patterns we've been living in, it's saying, that's what the message was, is that we want to be bigger and bolder and be stronger and be doing what's natural to us. We just want to make sure that we're doing it in the right place, in the right energy, surrounded by the people, places, things, and behaviors that are going to be the most advantageous to us. So anyway, like I said, I mentioned 3 decks. I kind of peeked under and there were some similarities here. So I started to do this reading for me and decided that I wanted to really get in there. So this one I know a little bit, but not a whole lot. So we're going to start off with the Magician. So what this is saying for those of us that this resonates for is that we have all of our powers. You guys hear me talk about that there are the different cycles. Each king protects his castle, right? So there's the swords, which is communication and truth. There's the wands, which is fire, and that could be passion. It can be love and romance, and it also could be fightings, right? It's 2 sides of that same coin. The pentacles, that's finances and stability, commitment, whatever that is. And a lot of times it's material things, and so it kind of ties to business a lot, but it's also can be relationship when it's at that level of business. And then the last one is cups, which is our hearts. And that's love, the flow of love. And everything in the world is love. Love is the opposite of fear. So love doesn't have to be romantic love, and it doesn't even have to be familial love. Love is how we treat one another, the people on the street. And the way you treat someone on the street is ultimately how you think about yourself deep down. So that's what we're working on. And some of my stuff this year is I realized that my dog, who loves me more than anyone, sometimes I would snap at her. And for things that I forgot, if I leave something on the counter, she's going to get it. She's never going to not do that. That's her dharma. She's going to continue to eat any piece of food that I ever give her access to. It's not fair for me to be angry with her because I forget to. We literally have locks on the garbage can in the pantry, and there are some serious procedures that have to go when I leave my house, right? And it's not my dog's fault when I forget the procedure. So sometimes I'd come home and she looks with this sad face because she knows that she's going to get fussed at. And I've changed that over the last several months. I noticed this pattern, and I haven't yelled at her in weeks, and not for anything. Even when I get frustrated, I just realized that was my thing. It had nothing to do with her, and her behavior is so much better. I've forgotten a few times, and she hasn't gotten into nonsense. It was almost like she and I had created this pattern of, this is how I get attention from mommy. I also read something that said the first 3 minutes that you come home are the most important for your children. So I've been loving her more when I come home. So again, this is like, we have all of the right elements. We're just doing something wrong by a little bit. For me with Sophie, I was trying to get her to be conditioned the way that I was. My parents yelled at me and I stopped doing stuff. Worked for my kids too. It doesn't work with my dog. With my dog, it's different. She doesn't understand, right? So I have to keep her safe by not giving her that opportunity to get into trouble. And then I just get to love her all the time, which is what she does for me. So whatever it is that we're doing, however that story resonates, there's likely something in our life that has to change. And we have access to all of these tools. This guy right here is kind of turned away. Like, we need to have him stop turning away from his gifts and his resources, right? It's time for him to face what's happening head on, see who he is. He's a cheetah, for God's sake. Like, your job is to run and run fast, right? You eat little critters when you get hungry and you avoid the big ones. I don't even know if he has a predator really, but again, it's what do we have? And we have to stop feeling bad when this guy's hungry and eats a bunny. That's what he has to do to stay alive, right? So I think there's a little bit of that energy in there for us. So let's see what we've got coming up, because we just have a lot in that little section. Okay. So I always read these two on the side, and there's a 2 and a 9. That already gives a master number 11. We had some synchronicities on that before. And that's just a really powerful number. So if anyone's into numerology, it could be interesting. This is 2. This is 1 and 1 love. I've talked about this before. It can be with a person. It doesn't have to be. It could be a passion. But whatever it is when you are present with someone. Whatever you do, you are in love with that thing, whether that's the job or a hobby or your children or your parents or a stranger that you just see who's kind to you in the store. It's giving that kind of attention. And this is burden. This is like, it's burden. But the reason that it's so hard, these would be easy steps. It's just we haven't been maintaining them. We haven't been like trimming and doing all of that extra stuff that we used to do. This is also the 9 of Wands, which has been coming up a lot for us. This was the one that was the stick with the little flying heads on there. So the good news is we're not at that 9 of Wands. We're not doing that. I went through this and all I got was this t-shirt energy kind of thing of like looking for a reward to compensate us for pain, right? We've moved on from that. So this is saying, great, now we have the steps. We are going in the right direction, but we just have to clean up our path a little bit and then we'll get to where we want to go. So what is it that you have to do? Again, very similar to this message. What's the one small thing that changed? Don't try and go to a whole new neighborhood. Just clean up what you've already got. Pay attention to what you've already got. And then in the center, just kind of like the heart of the reading for me. This is always setting the energy like at the first 4. So this is the 9 of Cups. And this is like a fantasy, kind of a wishes come true. This is you making a wish upon a star kind of thing. This is sweet energy, but it takes free will to get there, right? Anything that is in the minor arcana, the numbers, that's an opportunity that the universe gives us, our higher selves gives us, that we have to do the work for. So we just had this has to be clean. This is the same thing. You're going to have to fill your own cups to get what you want, right? Only you know what you want. So it's going to require some sort of investment. And this is the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man hangs from the tree of knowledge, and he's never in any sort of rush. On this one, he's got red eyes. He's watching everything. But look at him. He's not in any rush. He doesn't have a muscle flexed. He looks like he's a meditating bat who's keeping an eye at everything. So this tells me that we should go within, get into meditation, and ask ourselves those questions. What does my 9 of Cups looks like? What is that fantasy? And remember, this is including free will. You have to make these choices. So if I'm making this choice, what is it that I'm willing to invest in? This isn't just like magic wand era. It's what is it that you would put every bit of your heart into, right? What are you going to give 100% of yourself when you're there? I know that in the past, it's been messy. I know sometimes people knocked your spider webs down. I know we've all been knocked down the hill. We've been knocked off our pedestals or pinnacles, whatever that is. That's been that energy. It's saying the time is right now for you to ask yourself these questions. You're sitting there, you've been watching. What have you learned that now you know what's worth filling your own cup? But now you know you have to fill your own cup, right? In the past, we were like, we'd fill other people's cup thinking they'd fill ours. Now we know that to get our dream and our fantasy is that we fill our own cup, right? And we're starting to get a little bit of color in there. There's a lot of black and white in this deck, but when the color comes out, it's really important. Here we have the color here too, right? So the moon is a cycle. So the moon can be a lot of things to different people. But for me, what I'm feeling is it's a lunar cycle, right? That's 28 days. That's been coming up. We just finished going through the day out of time. And so we're very aware right now of the lunar calendar. There's a lot of astrological stuff. There's stuff in the news. Like, again, if you are fascinated by anything science related, this is our season. We nerds, like, this is such an exciting time because science is evolving. It's changing. Things that they said weren't the case for years that some of us thought might be the case, they're starting to prove or disprove the theories that they had been saying. So there's a lot more that's in question right now, right? So what are we going to love that we can endure? What cycle are we going through that by the next one, you may be able to have this because you have to be invested. Okay, so we got 3 cards. Oh boy. Yikes, Rooney. So 8s are moving forward. We've had a lot where it's walking away from things, but the 8s can also be forward motion. But we have the 5 of Wands, which is an inner battle with yourself. Same thing. Here's your tiny little wands. It's nothing major. you already have like the steps. Like that's the hard part. You just got to clean it up a little bit, right? You've got some good hardscape. You just need to like get someone to come over there and trim the hedges, so to speak, in life, right? Keep the stuff that works and get rid of this, what doesn't. So this is 5 that we have. This is just a battle with yourself. And as you can see, like it looks like a mirror that's been broken, or like a house of mirrors. You don't know which wand is right. That's what this is saying. It's one of those. You kind of know, but there's some other things that are confusing you, right? So you just have to really look at yourself and ask yourself that question. Where am I fighting with myself? What can I eliminate first? Because if you can go from 5 wands to 4 wands, 4 wands is a commitment. That's a level up, right? Just even getting one thing out of your life will make a difference, right? You're going up the stairs, clean it up. What do you need to clean up? So that's what that question is. Well, I have the answer for you, and it's going to be direct, so I'm going to give an extra smile. This is the card of betrayal and pain. It doesn't always have to be betrayal, but I always feel like it is. My favorite energy reader calls it Kurt Cobain and pain, the 3 of Swords, right? So this is like, what are we wrapping up? This is our pain. We've wrapped it in those swords. By the way, like if we just dropped it all, if we dropped all of the red in our life, whether it's the illusion of pain on the floor, if there was a puddle down here, we'd be a lot more free. Water flows. It can go into somewhere else. It can evaporate, right? There's an option. But this is saying we have kept our pain wrapped around the things that have hurt us all of this time. So this is something that, what do we need to look inside of ourselves and see that has been hurting us, that we've been holding on to, right? So it's just, again, same thing. If we just got rid of one wand, we have a table. On this one, if you just got rid of one sword, you have the 2 of Swords. And don't get me wrong, that is, it's someone that's blindfolded. And so, sorry, balloons just went across my screen. I don't know how that just happened. It's someone who's blindfolded, but they know how to battle. So at least if we just got rid of one pain, you would be a heck of a lot stronger because you have 2 hands. You can use 2 swords. Then you actually use that pain to propel you to the next level. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Same energy. Get rid of one wand, get rid of one sword. And this is the Chariot. And this is moving forward energy. And this is the balance. It has to be a balanced chariot. You see half of it's black and half of it's white. So it's going forward and just staying in balance. Yes, I know you have things that look like this on one side. Yes, I know you have things on that side. But as long as the horse keeps going, nothing can get to him, right? You just need to get through that gauntlet a little bit. What do I need to do? I just need to move forward and remove one wand, right? One thing that's getting me angry, or one thing that I'm passionate about but not passionate enough about. And then remove something that's causing me pain. What's one truth that I can say, you know what, this isn't as true for me as it used to be, right? That's what it's asking us to get rid of. Yes, there's a gauntlet, but we have got that as long as we stay balanced and true and know what our objective is. And it's to get rid of something that's not serving us here, something that's a burden, and something that's a betrayal. Just one thing, just one new truth. Just keep going forward. Ow. I didn't read any of this the other day, so this is kind of awesome, actually. And so we've got these 2 cards. This is the Queen of Wands. We've talked about her before. She's the woman that, look how protective she is. She's like so protective of her eggs that, to be honest, they look like they're in a nest now. So she thinks that she's protecting everything. But to be honest, she'd be better off, instead of like protecting what she's got, if she rattled that tail and she popped her head up a little bit more. So we just need her to be a little bit more aware of what's going on. But sometimes that Queen of Wands is wearing that mask because she has to. She knows that, again, she's got guests coming over. She's got a party coming. She just heard about all of this stuff, but she's just going to keep putting it on, making it good for everybody else. And this is just asking us to kind of focus. Again, we kind of had getting rid of a wand. This is like, what's the one wand you're holding on to? She's hanging on to that. But again, this might be like uncoil a little bit, right? It's good to have that fire in us, but how can we use that in a different way? The better thing for her to do is, if she just shakes her tail, anybody is getting out of there. That's all she has. She has a different resource, and it could be just showing that she's a rattlesnake. Nobody wants to mess with a rattlesnake, right? But like this, she looks like, oh, I might be able to take her on, actually. And then this is fast moving. I talked about earlier about the 8s, right? We just talked about that. This is the 8 of Wands, which is forward moving, fast moving energy. And usually this is communication. And what this is telling me is that the universe is going to tell us exactly what. So you just need to feel what you can feel. Don't be afraid, because you're a rattlesnake. If anyone comes at you, you just shake your tail and they go the other direction, right? So Be who you are and embody that and be bigger and bolder. That's 100% the message. And this tells me that you're going to know exactly what to do. You just have to trust your instincts. That's what this lightning bolt is, a message from the universe. It goes that fast. And by the way, it might be painful. Anyone that was on my story, it knows, you all know I've kind of been sharing. It's been a challenging season for me. And it feels like things just keep coming up and it's been really hard. And at the same time, my instincts are telling me exactly how to do, and I'm at peace with the things that have. Although things are hard and sad, and some of those things, we just have to know that we have to trust that everything is going to work out in the end, no matter what happens, right? Okay, and our final card. This is why I did this reading live. It's the Eight of Pentacles. I flipped it through on that because I felt like this reading was for me, and when I saw that Eight of Pentacles, I'm like, I'm going to have to read properly. So at the time, I was just going to do it with me. And then today I had an interesting day. Someone got me back into gratitude. And I was like, you know what? Here I am sharing my story. And I know that it's strange that I'm so vulnerable on the internet, but I know that it can't be the only one. And I have lots of you guys that reach out to me privately. Some of you that make comments, which thank you very much for liking and commenting. And I know I'm not the only one going through this stuff. And so it feels good to me to know that I'm not alone. I'm not happy that you guys are going through stuff too. And at the same time, it feels good to know. I told someone this morning she's going through an equal amount of stuff with me and on her own, so maybe more actually, right? And it's like, okay, clearly if we're getting this kind of challenge, I know we can get through it. We are the kind of people that get through it. We just need to do it bigger, bolder, and stronger because there will be more. And we want to help people when the time comes. And so here we are. We've got a spider card. And this is the card of mastery. This is Eight of Pentacles. And the card is literally called the card of mastery. And for those of us that are on a soul's journey, this is what we're looking for. I've said it from anyone that's with Keller Williams and has ever taken bold, right? What's the answer to everything I've learned in every bold? The answer is always self-mastery. No matter what it comes down to, the answer is self-mastery, no matter what the problem is. It doesn't matter if that other person did it. The answer is self-mastery. What can we do differently in the future? We can complain all day long, right? That's the other Eight of Swords that we could have kept. We didn't get that. We used to get the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Cups. So that was like prison of our own making. We didn't get that today. So I think that stands out. And then we were walking away from something that wasn't good enough. Right now, we got the other one, which is fast forward movement. And then right following that Eight, we got the Eight of Mastery. And it's a spider with a really intricate web. This guy's not building. You don't build a web like this where you know it's going to get knocked down. I'm from Louisiana. I've walked into webs like that. They have giant spiders, by the way. Those big banana spiders and lots of them in the woods. This is the kind of nest you find because those guys know that their stuff isn't getting disturbed. He's invested in a web like this. This is mastery. So the solution to a lot of this is mastering ourselves. It is mastering, again, when we put it in the right environment, you can have that elaborate web. But if you keep building a web like this in a doorway and then blaming other people for walking through it, it's fine. You can keep complaining. Someone's always going to listen to that low vibe stuff, no question. However, if you ever want to move on from that, you're going to have to build a web like this at a place where it could stay. This is investing. This is Pentacles. This is building that castle that we talk about. This is not a House of Cards energy by any means. This is 100%. It is the timing to move on. And Seven of Pentacles is divine timing. So the card right before this is divine timing. Divine timing has been coming up for me like crazy. That has definitely been a theme. Divine timing, now we are at mastery. So the time has changed. Now we need to start investing just like we had at the beginning. We start investing and cleaning up those little things. We do the same thing that we already did. You already built the staircase a long time ago. You had to leave it. Now it's time to go back. You just have to clean it up, invest in it, and give whatever that is the kind of love and trust in your mastery. Holy crap. This is actually a really good reading. I always like to read a couple at the end and see what our messages are. Okay, so we have the Father of Swords. There's our King of Truth. The king protects his castle. So how do we do that? You keep truth. Universal truth. This is truth that's a rainbow. We all have our own levels of truth, but ultimately there's an ultimate truth, right? That's not a perspective. This happened because there's no sarcasm. There's no innuendo. There's no feeling to it. This is the truth that's just the uncomfortable truth. And then this is the Knight of Wands, and this is in and out energy. But for me, this looks like he's got a dandelion. That's what I always think is that. So it also is like wishful energy. This Knight of Wands, he wants it so bad. He loves this dandelion. He just doesn't feel like a king. And if he's not a king, he doesn't feel ready for it. But how does the Knight of Wands become a king? Is with truth. When you know who you are and you embrace yourself, then you know that you can make that wish. And you can see this is also kind of the sun, right? So this is the happiest card. And one last one, and there we are. That's my last card. So there's our rainbow. I talked about a rainbow earlier. This is the Two of Wands. This is the card of you have to make a decision. You can either stay where you are and hold on to that branch, or you can take the next step and reach out to the next branch. We have got to make a decision and move forward. You can only do one adventure at a time. One of Wands is an adventure. Two of Wands is two adventures. If you chase two rabbits, you catch, right? So this is pick your adventure and move forward. That's all this is. This is a really beautiful reading. Yes, these are the sin. Again, it was that same, this was in and out energy. You weren't strong enough before, but now you have the truth, right? The truth is exactly right there. As long as you choose the path that feels like the truth, you're all set. So, oh, yay. I love this reading. I needed this today. Have a great day. Thanks for those of you that watch and like and all of those things. And thanks for being on this journey with me. It really helps to not feel alone. Bye, everyone.